Hi guys, it's been such a long time since I last posted, and I'm really enjoying Radiant Stars. It's really brought back a lot of players who actually quit the game because they already finished the Battle Pass like 1 month into Darkness and Dragons, which was the main reason why matchmaking quality at the end of the season was really bad. Everyone just stopped playing or stopped caring about their rank because a reset was on the way. So no matter how high you reached, unless you reach the next tier of unlocking the next border for season 3, then it was just pointless. People were already testing out the to be buffed champions like, for example, Fernando, Atlas, Lex in ranked, okay, which was kind of sad, but still, that's a thing that's gonna happen all the time. We still have the issues with matchmaking and players who feed on purpose and players who specifically say before the match starts, yeah, I'm gonna feed, I wanna go to bronze 5. People just do that all the time, which is kind of sad. Anyways, this video is about drafting and about Corvus. He is just way too underrated, and finally, thank God that people started banning him instead of, Io. Now, Io did not get nerfed. Hear me out, the nerfs did nothing. Okay, the things that changed are primarily where to place Luna at the start of the round, that is, if you place Luna in the first place. What people usually tend to do now is don't deploy Luna at all until you get a pick or the enemy point tank stands on the point, in which case you just put Luna there to, prevent him from gaining free capture percentage. And that's the thing. And Io is now used as bait so that you would get a double support composition that's gonna be Jenos plus Corvus. Okay, so let me just go ahead and show you an example of that so that you understand what I'm talking about. I'm gonna be using MS Paint, of course, because it's the easiest tool to do, the fake draft here. I'm with my best friends on both sides, by the way, the bots. I'm the bot king. So, here what I mean by using Io as bait. The map is Fish Market, so the perfect map to be playing Io, because if the whole team is pushing while Luna is on the payload, that's probably gonna get you the win. Unless your team doesn't even exist because they're getting bombarded by a ton of damage. So let's assume that the team on the left side is first picking. Now, if you're on the left side, you're playing on Fish Market. So if you can go ahead and grab Ashe, you don't really care that much about the enemy's backliner because you'll be in their face all the time. So Ashe is a good pick here. But if you want to go ahead and try, getting one of the two snipers, then yes, you would want to ban Ashe. She's a very solid ban here. So let's just assume that you went ahead and did that instead, hoping that the enemy will, ban Io plus one of the snipers instead. Now, on the enemy side, what they can do to gain the advantage is exactly not do that, ban one of the snipers first, and then your turn to ban, you've got to ban something. Maybe you'll ban Terminus or Inara or whomever else you like. It really doesn't matter. There are a lot of solid picks to be banning here. So let's just assume a random one, okay? For example, you ban Terminus for some reason, okay? Or Inara. Just use one of them. Doesn't matter. Of course, Terminus isn't worth banning on Fish Market because he dies a lot on that map. There are too many angles of attack that even the poke from the support is enough to make him cry. And as soon as his siphon is down, he's dead. So he's not really a great pick or a ban here, but we're just assuming things. So the team on the right side now goes ahead and bans Kinessa. So what is the team on the left going to do right now? Well, they can go ahead and pick Victor or Vivian because that's always gonna be the best option on Fish Market. And, they see that Io is open. So what if someone told them, hey, save Inara or Io for us? And they went ahead and did that. Okay, so Io on the left side. Now you have Corvus plus Jenos open, which the team on the right side is going to probably pick. Now, hear me out. It's not like this is a magical composition that wins all games. This is counterable. All you need to counter this is an off tank and some good burst damage. So champions like Cassie and Leon, okay, Fish Market is a great map for Leon, by the way. No matter how bad people say Leon is, she's still cancer to play against anywhere, especially on Fish Market. So get some burst to deal with this. It's not like the end of the world. And you do have IO, so if you go ahead and capture, you will be pushing in a 5-man stack. Now, let me just reiterate on things. So Corvus over here can solo support for many reasons. You know, it's just that people keep on underestimating cards and overestimating others. Now, my loadouts for Corvus are these, you know, these, you only need this one and this one, by the way. You know, this is just for the stupid battle pass challenge, and this is, you know, I tried out the shield bot method. It's just bad beyond belief. This card is absolutely worthless. Like, you do, for each 40k healing you do, you get 5k shielding. Similar to, you know, Furia's card before the nerf, except it's really not that good because you have to play Dark Gifts for it to give you value. Otherwise, it's just a waste of space. So anyways, let me exactly tell you what I'm talking about in regards to people underestimating the cards. See this card, Shadow Tribunal? Now, people say it's absolutely worthless. And here I am having it at 5 points. Why do I have it at 5 points? How much value do I get out of it? Well, since I'm running Spreading Influence, this causes the talent to only have a downside of 5%. So basically, I'm gaining the second mark with just 5%. But what if I told you I can actually do better? Here, look at this. Directly healing a marked ally will heal that ally for an additional 10%, and will reduce the cooldown of Abyssal Reconstruction by 1 second. So, first thing is, this will make the talent Spreading Influence actually do 5% more if I heal a marked ally. So I'm only healing 2 people, not 3. And my cooldown with Chronos 3 is 1.8 seconds, which is the fastest cooldown on any support, you know, except Ceres, that uses Chronos. That's good. That's absolutely insane, by the way, because this is affected by Rejuvenate, I think. I'm just gonna show you some matches. So, here I am, playing with Fernando and Ash as tanks, not Inara. And I healed for 255k. How many minutes was that? This one, right? So, 18 minutes, 255k. How did I achieve this? Well, there are secrets to it, of course, and those secrets are the Rejuvenate cards on tanks and the item Rejuvenate. This is how you are supposed to heal with Corvus. You abuse your tanks to heal your team, and then you abuse your team to heal your tanks. Let me show you some other games. So this match, we were up against, you know, one of the best Willow players in the world. 31 kills, 11 deaths, 12 assists. This Willow was literally targeting whomever I am healing. So I healed less than either of the enemy's double supports. But we won anyways. And we were up against Unbelievable, who was playing Cripple Inara, so I had to buy Bulldozer so that my team doesn't die. You know, Inara was literally going 1 versus 5 and winning because no one was bothering to shoot her. Now, our draft was kind of weird, I do understand that, you know, but it worked out in the end. So, we won. It was this match, again, it's 18 minutes. Let me see if I have any other good matches. Of course, there are losses everywhere. Well, 14 minutes, 41 seconds, 1 kill, 2 deaths, 24 assists. Let's see. 192 healing. So how do you achieve that much? And by the way, our Inara was literally feeding, and really, she was always off the point other than the first round. And this, alongside, you know, her base kit, alongside Khan's Hope Guard, alongside Rejuvenate, This is how you break Corvus's healing without having to have champions that do have lifesteal. You don't need that to do this good. Now, I'm not saying that the healing numbers are basically on tanks, because I did keep our team members alive. Of course, sadly, Leon and Cassie were focusing on our Victor all the time, so no matter what I did, I really couldn't save him all the time. He was just getting bursted before my second heal came up. Oh well, it was fish market anyways, so tough luck, I guess. Now let's go back here for a second. The speed card. I have to stress out that this is only useful when you have a land flanker, because who are you marking? Well, for me, the marked people are probably my flanker and my point tank most of the time, and then I cycle the mark twice, once on my damage to heal them fast, and once on my flanker to get them back, to the marked state so I can actually heal them while I heal someone else. I keep cycling my marks, and that's how I'm getting a lot of healing from Corvus. Don't even think that you can heal 3 people all the time and win with that, because the heal in that case is so bad, it's not even worth it. Just make sure to abuse whomever has Rejuvenate, and late game, tell your team to buy Rejuvenate because it adds more and more the more people have it. So if your flanker has Rejuvenate built in, and Inara is on your side while she has Earthen Guard's 40% healing increase, the built-in Rejuvenate, that's just an insane amount of healing on your flanker. You'll see them go from 0 to full in 1 second, sometimes even if they don't cleanse Cauterize, which is insane. This is what is breaking Corvus, in my own personal opinion. So don't underestimate Shadow Tribunal. It only makes you win more, which in this case is better because you're not paying a price for it. 3 loadout spots. What are you gonna use, instead of that? The HP card? Well, I do have it at one point in this loadout that doesn't have the speed card. But really, why would you swap this for anything else? Are there any cards you need? The speed card, as I've already explained a billion times, only applies to grounded movement, which anyone can use. But vertical mobility champions like Androxus in the air, this card isn't going to give him any value until he lands. Same thing with Maeve, as long as she's jumping, and a good Maeve never lands. That's, something that doesn't exist in the game, because currently there are barely any good Maeve players. Like, you probably can count them on your 10 fingers. Maybe your 20 fingers, okay? Maybe. Just, no, not really gonna be a thing. And of course, Evie, while she's in her sword, she doesn't gain anything from this, but she will gain something while she's on the ground, which most of the time she is on the ground. Still, I don't think it's worth it. Now, before we move on from Corvus, let me just, answer a few things. Many people say that Shadow Tribunal is worthless, and yes, I've seen many Corvus players do just fine without it. The thing is, Shadow Tribunal is the same exact thing, as running a self-sustain card on a champion. What do I mean by that? Well, the healing on Corvus, without the downside to, spreading influence, is 350 over half a second, and then a burst of 800. So in total, it's 1150. Now, if you do run, spreading influence, this is going to be 977.5. However, if you do run Shadow Tribunal, this is going to be 1150 times 0.95 instead, because the downside is just 5%. And this is without healing an already marked ally. This is a difference of 120 units. Now, if you do go ahead and heal an already marked ally, this is going to be 1207.5. Compare this number to the 977, let's just subtract these two from each other. That's an increase of 230 units. Let me show you what 230 units are like. For example, on Cassie, some people like running, where is it? It's this card, Drain Life. Some people run it at like this, 3 points. So basically, this is the same effect if you hit one ally, except the points aren't on the damaged champion. They are on Corvus, who does have the space for it because he doesn't really have that many great cards. There are other champions with the exact same thing. For example, on Androxus, some players don't even run self-healing cards. Some people like buffing their ultimate with elusive. So many options on Androxus. Don't run this. This is just the troll build that I, play in TDM because people don't know how to play in TDM. It's just like flick training versus bots. And this is what I'm talking about here. 120 each step. So 2 steps is 240, which is, about the same thing as having Corvus use that card. 120 was the number, the exact number, 1 step, if you heal a non-marked ally, and then, Androxus was marked. That's just still good, It's the same thing as a self-sustain card on a champion. So if you say it's bad, you're saying Abyss Walker is bad. You're saying Drain Life on Cassie is bad. You're saying many, many cards on many champions are bad. Okay? That's my point of view on it. And yes, again, I know that Corvus can work without Shadow Tribunal at all. Now, we do have to consider that, since off-tanks are back in the game and are making such a huge difference, that, you probably want to solo support most of the time. But the thing is, so many people, including the pros, say that Inara plus Jenos just doesn't work because, Inara needs burst healing. And yet again, I don't have any recent games with that. I personally do not have an issue with that if I'm the Inara, not the Jenos, okay? Because there's a card that people don't use, sadly enough, there are many bad guides on Inara right now. Way too bad, by the way. So probably I should be making another Inara guide or something, I don't know. But let me just go ahead and show you the loadouts that I use. They're not exactly the best, but I want you to look at this one specifically. What exactly is this loadout? Well, the thing is, you do have 40% Rejuvenate built in on your right click. That's a good thing. So you want to reduce the cooldown of that as much as possible. And then you, as Inara, you want to poke at every single enemy to get eliminations so that Rolling Stones activates. This card is considered bad by many people, and yet it's the thing that keeps Inara alive with Jenos, because you have that 40% Rejuvenate up all the time. So you can focus on buying other items than Rejuvenate when you have Jenos. This card means that if your team is actually making use of the buff, the damage buff from Jenos, then yes, you will be winning your games with just solo Jenos into Inara. Now, I know that some people don't like Stone Bulwark at all, so if you want to remove it and put something else and, maximize your HP, that is fine. However, I've come to, like running Rolling Stones a lot, because getting that wall up again, or getting your cooldowns back, even though this is just gonna give me like 1.6 seconds, maybe even less, this is still giving me a lot of value on my Inara. And yes, there are some times that I don't run self-healing, because damage reduction is gonna be much, much better. For example, against a Willow, this is what I would be running. Well, that's the thing. Now, just keep in mind, I'm not saying it's okay to play Jenos solo into Inara. I'm saying I personally have no issue with it. That's just me when I'm the Inara, not when I'm the Jenos, okay? Because it's all loadout dependent. Now, let me just explain why this works and why, let's just explain this one instead. The loadout I showed you just seconds ago. So let's just pull up the calculator here. You will need your Earthen Guard up as much as possible, which is why I have these 2 points, as high as possible. And then Stone Bulwark is actually buffed by your self-rejuvenate. So it's not just 75. You have to multiply that by, the 40% that is added, the built-in Rejuvenate from the same ability. So it's 105. Now, Jenos' heals are 180 per second, and you also must multiply that by 1.4. So it's 252 plus the 105 from, Jenos. Now, it's not exactly like this, okay, because Rejuvenate doesn't calculate like this. It removes Cauterize first, and then you apply the healing. So don't just take it like, oh, it's just a heal for 357 per second when you're not cauterized, which it is. Just pull up your wall, hide behind it for a second or two, you'll get like 1k HP back, and then once your Earthen Guard is down, you'll still have 5 seconds of not buffed Jenos heals on you. So you just gotta play smarter, you've gotta retreat when you have to retreat. And you need your team to make space for you, which is why people run with an off-tank, you need the space. So many pros tell you, and Roxas, while he can make space in some cases due to the enemy team being bad, he really needs space for him to do good. You can't just have Andro being focused by 2 people and hope he'll just come out on the winning side, He can just juke as much as he can, and then if he doesn't have space, he just doesn't work, okay? Make sure you're playing a team game as a team game, like people do in higher elo, in the highest elo. Except those in the highest elo will tell me that, no, everyone is being a jerk right now. I don't know what's wrong with player base. Why is everyone feeding on purpose? Why doesn't anyone update their loadouts? Why do people pick throw picks? Okay, speaking of throw picks, let me just tell you those in a hurry as, the last thing in this video. So, the throw picks. Pip as a healer. Grok as a solo support. Zamba as anything, because he just sucks now. He got nerfed, not buffed, because the bug that they fixed ended up reducing his total healing done, even with the buff. Ceres as a healer or as Agony Ceres. He's just bad. You only play Soul Collector as a second support or a semi-damage champion. And she's not really that great, she does win a lot of 1v1s, but she escapes all the time from others, so yeah, whatever. Torvald as anything, he's just a throw pick. Khan as anything. Why do people think Storm works? It doesn't, okay? It's just bad. Barrick, he is a complete throw pick, completely. Even if Terminus is banned, I'd rather play Atlas on the point. I'd even rather play Ashe versus Inara just because Brawl gives me, insane amounts of healing. If she puts up her field, her wall, and herself, I'll get like 1800 healing over 2 seconds, and then you apply Cauterize to that. So it is something that can be done. It's not really the best option here, but still it can be done. You can throw games with Rom if the enemy has counters for you, Just go feed the enemy all charges, or pick Rom into Victor and go hug Victor all the time. That's just the dumbest thing ever. Victor is gonna be ulting every 30 seconds, and you can't kill him 1v1 as Rom, even with the nerfs, because, simply put, your head is right there, you're stationary, he will be landing headshots way too easily. You just don't know how easy it is to land headshots on Rom as Victor. So, on flankers, Sky is a throw pick, she is a support, she's not a flanker. Moji at higher elo is now a throw pick because people know that, oh, Moji, not only did she receive nerfs herself, off-tanks got buffed a bit, so now she has to face her mortal enemy, shields. Okay, she can't do shit against shields, so don't even bother with this thing. And Lex. People, if you cannot aim like a god, do not pick Lex. He's not a flanker in the first place, he's a damage champion with a specific target, revealed to him all the time. That's all he is, and while yes, you can be as aggressive as Cassie is, your only sustain is your speed. Talus. Talus is not a throw pick, it's just that on PC he was never good. On Shattered Desert, you can do such insane shit because of how big the map is and how many spots you can hide your teleporter in. But you can fucking counter Talus with Ashe or really any off-tank. That's the thing. So don't really bother playing Talos unless you know how to play him, okay? Which is kind of a weird thing to say. Now, Maeve isn't a draw pick, but hear me out. There are barely 20 good Maeves in the entire Paladins player base right now. Maybe even less than 20, maybe even less than 10, I don't know. But Maeve, for some reason or another, she's been going worse, and worse without getting buffed or nerfed at all this time. I don't know why. On the damage side, the thing is, there are really no draw picks at all here. No draw picks at all. Unless you pick Drogos into Androxos and Victor, which is a draw pick. Sadly. And that's it. That's all the champions in the game. So just remember, I'm not telling you these things so that you go ahead and be toxic. I'm telling you these things so that you don't happen to be the victim of toxicity for picking Sky, for picking Koga, for picking Moji, for picking Khan, for picking Barak, for picking Torvald, for picking Damba, for picking Ceres. Even Ying as a solo support is sometimes the worst thing in the world. For example, on Fish Market, if I'm playing Corvus, I'll buy Bulldozer for your clones, and your point tank will never get heals if you're placing your clones in the open. If you're placing your clones on the sides, then yes, maybe I can still shoot them from my better positioning than you. And you'll be teleporting all over the place whenever you get flanked, and if you put them like on the point, you're just gonna die. So don't bother with learning Life Exchange Ying because she was never good. She's a scrims only champion. Scrims only. You need a coordinated team to play Ying, so don't bother. Okay? And that's all. See you in the next Ratchet video. Bye bye.